Hello everyone and welcome back to our channel Biodiversity and Conservation. I am Subhalakshmi Raut from Ambika Prasad Research Foundation, Odisha, India. And today we are going to discuss about some plant-animal relationships or interactions. So when we think about plant-animal interaction, um, we must say these are very important relationships in our nature. They they are helpful for the balance in the nature and a common theme if we see throughout the study of these plant animal interaction, it is that the enormous effect that these interactions have on the plant and animal evolution. So before going forward, what is actually plant animal interaction? These are the relationships between plants and animals that may be beneficial or harmful to one or both groups, and these all relationship come under plant-animal interaction. Maybe the interaction be very for a second or very little time, but nonetheless they are all interactions and there is a strong evidence that the interaction between plants and insect pollinators is the primary driver of the diversity in flowering plants and the group of insects that are mostly involved in pollination and the selection of the animal consumers of particular plants on which they will feed has driven the evolution of numerous plant different traits also in plants, and the primary benefit that the plants obtain from animals is mobility. As we know, plants cannot move. So how will they reproduce? How will a new tree will get generated? So most of the plants depend on animals to transport the pollen grains, um, which which helps in reproduction process. And in many cases, the interaction between plants and animals are highly specialized and mutually beneficial. So, because of these specialized mutualisms, um, both plant and animal can be vulnerable to extinction um, because because of their dependence on each other and um, so the study is important so that we can know about their interactions, their importance, and how we can conserve them in future. So this topic says about why plant animal interaction is important in an ecosystem, why these are seen in ecosystem. So mainly they are important pathways for transfer of energy within ecosystems. It, it basically says about food chain and food web, which we have studied from class 7, because here every consumer depends on producer, that is plant, and the consumers also help the producers for uh, for reproduction and pollination and all that processes. So these plant animal interactions help to maintain a stable ecosystem, and plants mainly depend on animals for pollination and seed dispersal, and plants absorb the nutrients from the decomposed animals or from the soil to grow and give back the nutrition to the animals. So the cycle continues. Animals depend on plants for food, shelter, protection, oxygen, and so many things. And plants provide us with some um, non-timber forest products like firewood or wood for building materials, and some flowers are used in beauty, that is cosmetics, and um, the some grasses and some wood are used for making weapons like bows and arrows. And animals provide fertilizer to plants or to the soil, because after death all the nutritious elements compounds in the body get decomposed, and it mixed with soil, which is taken up by the plants. And animals provide food, and they help in pollination, keeping plants in check, because overgrowth is also not good, and while allowing the varieties which are important to grow more. So they help to maintain the balance. And generally, there are four types of interaction: predation, parasitism, commensalism, mutualism. There are also other types which we can study, but mainly these four interactions are commonly seen in the nature. And in the coming slides, we will discuss one by one. So this is a process called predation, or as it is said in Hindi, shikar. The predation is a biological interaction where one organism, that is the predator, kills and eats another organism, which is a prey. This tiger killing deer is a prime example here. And next example is a spider catching its prey. Maybe it's a small fly. And there are also some carnivorous plants that consume different small insects. And these carnivorous plants, they have to take the nutrition from the outer source, that is insects, because of the low nutritional content in the soil in which they grow. And extra nitrogen is needed by the plants. Therefore, the carnivorous plants eat insects to fulfill the need for nitrogen. And by photosynthesis, these plants continue to receive energy from sun. Next is parasitism, um, parashrayata. Here it is a close relationship between the species where one organism, that is the parasite, lives on or inside another organism, that is the host, causing it some harm, and is adapted structurally to its life. And some examples are uh, one you have seen everywhere, that is Cuscuta reflexa. It's a parasitic plant, mainly yellowish in color, and seen growing on various plants. So they uh, get their nutrition from their host plants. And most easy example is mosquito, which is a parasite, and it gets its nutrition from the blood, which it sucks from human and animals. And the next example is leech. It is also a parasite which attaches itself to the host to get the blood, which provides them with the required nutrients. Next is commensalism. It is a type of interaction where one organism gains something, and the other is neither harmed or benefited, like orchids, which are epiphytes. They grow on tree trunks, um, uh, and the trees provide them a surface for their growth, but um, they don't cause any negative effect on the trees, the epiphytes, and they get their nutrition from the air. And next example is the sucker fishes that are attached under sharks and whales. These fishes, they actually get their nutrition from the small fishes that surrounds the sharks. When the shark completes eating the food, the leftover bits are consumed by these fishes, and they don't harm or cause any effect on other organisms. They just do their get their benefit without causing any harm to other. Next is mutualism. Here, when both species gain from their interaction, this process is called mutualism. And the mutualistic link between pollinators and plants is a prime example in this case, like the animal pollinators, bees, butterflies, birds, they all receive nourishment in exchange for carrying the plant's pollen grain from flower to flower. Um, and another common method of seed dispersion involves an alliance between the plant and animal that disperses the seeds. The tasty fruit that encases the seeds is consumed by numerous animals, and the seeds are subsequently dispersed in a new spot some distance away from the plant, the parent plant. And this also helps in the evolution process also, because in some cases there are some types of seeds that cannot desiccate or cannot germinate without going through the gut of some a particular bird. So if the bird gets extincted, then the plant will also get extincted. So um, mutualism is a very important interaction. And another common example is cattle egret and cattle interaction, where the the cattle and egrets both get benefits. So we actually did a study in Jamtara Forest Division, Jharkhand, where uh, we saw all these interactions, and some study or summary of the study is that we found the bird population in Jharkhand, and in actually in Jharkhand there are 350 bird species, and out of them endangered at 24, and 161 bird species are found in a small district Jamtara, and the endangered bird species are only three, and priority birds which are needed attention are six. Here are some endangered bird species in Jharkhand, like Bengal florican, eastern imperial eagle, red-headed vulture, bristol grass warbler, marsh harrier, darter, white-necked stork. So these are some endangered bird species that we found in Jharkhand. And these are some species that are in need for conservation in Jharkhand, like black-headed gull, great crested grebe, Indian vulture, lesser adjoint. tufted duck, and white-trumped vulture. So these require serious case of conservation. Here are the pictures of these birds. Now we will discuss about some important plant and animal interactions that we saw during our study. So first one is the interaction between a bird named scaly-breasted munia and a grass species that is Saccharum spontaneum. Here actually Munia uses the inflorescence of this grass to build nests, and also they feed on these grains of the grass. And this is the interaction where bulbul, it collects the twigs or uh, dried nest of red weaver ants. Along with the twigs, they build the nest on trees, and the dried nest of red weaver ant is the best material to use for building nests because they make a very compact structure and very uh, tight and safe structure for birds to lay their eggs. And because when the red weaver ants build their nest, they stick the leaves very intricately and with the larval silk, which is very good glue material. These are some leaf hoppers, the Agalia. They are the insects that suck on the sap of plants for their nutrition. They are vectors that transmit viruses in plants, causing harm to them. So we have to know about these because if we know they are harmful, then we can eradicate them, or we can use some natural pesticides or insecticides to kill them without causing any harm to the plant. So a very little bit amount of these leaf hoppers is not a problem, but if a tree is covered with these leaf hoppers, then it will um, suck all the food material from the plant, and the plant will eventually die. So to save these plants, we have to know about these little insects. Now, this is the interaction of common emigrant butterfly sucking on the nectar of the flowers of Vitex negunda, and also pollinating the flower. This is the common example of mutualism. Here, the cattle egrets are often found near or sitting on the back of the cows and other cattle, feeding on the ticks, small insects found on the bodies of the cattle, eventually helping the cattle with the removal of ticks, which cause irritation and sometimes wounds in case of cattle. Here we can see Hanuman Langur feeding on the foods of Ficus bengalensis and also helping with the process of seed dispersal. So this is the nest of red weaver ants. They build their nests normally on the tall trees using larval silk to stick the leaves together. And they are food of various tribal communities also. It tastes little um, sour because of the acid present in the ants, and they are important food of Indian pangolin. So to conserve Indian pangolin, we have to conserve their food, and they are also an important source of income for various tribal communities. So this is an interaction of plain tiger butterfly with Radix procumbens. Here it pollinates the flower of Tridex procumbens, also getting rewarded with the nectar of the plant. Here Apis dorsata is found feeding on the flowers of Lantana camara as well as pollinating the plant. As you can see here, these are the eggs of yellow-wattle lapwing, and they actually make their nest in the small depressions on land in the grasslands, and the yellow-wattle lapwings sit and incubate their eggs. Um, Therefore, to protect or save these birds, we have to protect the grasslands. So these little interactions are very important to um, balance our ecosystem and conserve our ecosystem. So this is a very big nest of honeybees. Um, as we know, honeybees store the nectar in their hives in the form of honey. And honey is also an important source of livelihood for tribal people, and it's a food for various animals and humans also. So to conserve these um, mm, honeybees and to get the honey, we have to conserve the plants so that they can make good nests. So this is a little sunbird. Here we can see it feeding on the nectar of the plants of Calotropis gigantea, and while feeding, it's also pollinating the flower. So this is a type of interaction, mutualism, both getting benefited through the process. Here we can see bank myna feeding on the fruits of Ficus bengalensis and dispersing their seeds. And Ficus bengalensis is a plant which uh, gives so many benefits to various animals. They build their nest there, they get their food from there. Uh, Sometimes in some areas it's worshipped also. So they provide so many benefits. This is a picture of a carpenter bee, Xylocopa species, feeding on the nectar of Calotropis procera and as well as pollinating the plant. Uh, I have only seen this plant once in Chamtara. I don't know if it's available anywhere, but it's a very beautiful flower. This is the photo of red-vented bulbul feeding on the fruits of Ficus religiosa and also dispersing their seeds and continuing the lifeline or the generation of Ficus religiosa. As we know, uh, birds, different insects, they they are important pollinators, but moths and butterflies, we know they are very good pollinators, but moths, especially small moths, are uh, very good pollinators. So this is raspberry pyrosta moth. uh, it's pollinating the flowers of Hyptis suaveolens, and it's very small in size, maybe 1 2 cm, but it's very helpful for the nature. This is the small insect that is pollinating the flower of a parasitic plant, striga, and it's a very good observation for us. This is photo of a moth feeding on the ripe fruits of Lantana camara. At the night time, also they are active, so at the night time this photo was taken. This is a picture of Brahmini starling resting on uh, an important plant, Premna latifolia, and consuming the fruits of Ziziphus vinifolia. Here you can see Asian pied starling feeding on the fruits of Phlegia leucoperis. It's also helping in the seed dispersal. This is the photo of purple-rumped sunbird pollinating the flowers of Gigipus martiana, in turn getting rewarded with the nectar and fruits also. This is the photo of a large tree, um, Phoenix sylvestris, where you can see a large number of bioweaver nests. So bioweaver are actually excellent weavers. They use grass material and the leaves of the khajur also, and all these they make a very compact structure, which is their nest, and it's very intricate designing, and they are actually good architects. So here you can see Rufus trippi consuming the fruits of Lania coromantlica and dispersing their seeds. I think this is the favorite tree of Rufus trippi because whenever we see Rufus trippi, it's most likely on this Lania coromantlica tree. This is a very good interaction. You can see here um, bee, a male bee, which is getting confused with the orchid flower as female, and get rewarded with nectar for pollinating the flowers. But it's a false type of interaction, but it's beneficial for nature. Here you can see a yellow oriental paper wasp consuming the nectar from the flowers of Caricia trifolia and thereby pollinating it. Actually, we know that snails they are vegetarians mainly, and they feed on grasses and some small herbs, and they actually um, feed by chewing the stems and leaves of the grasses, and this process actually helps in pollination and seed dispersal of some grasses and cypress also. As we know, caterpillars they are known for consuming large amount of leaves from the plants for their nutrition and growth. They can be taken in the category of parasites because they don't give any benefit to the plant. Just they keep on feeding on the leaves till they are at the stage where they will go form a cocoon around themselves and rest. This is a very beautiful picture of bees consuming the nectar from the flower of Coropita guinensis, Nagchampa, and thereby pollinating the flower. Here we can find actually the chrysalis or pupa of common crow butterfly um, under the on the underside of the leaves of Clostridium lancellarium for support. It's also a type of interaction which is important for the continuation of the life cycle of this particular butterfly. So it can be an example of commensalism where um, the common crow butterfly is getting benefited without causing any harm or benefit to the plant. Here we can see that spiders they actually lay their eggs in the leaves, and they also make a very intricate nest by folding the leaves using the threads that they produce for making webs. And the female also remains inside the leaves and builds web around herself also, so that she can protect the egg case till hatching. This is a classic example of parasitism, because cicadas they normally get their food from the sap of plants, and they suck the sap from the plants, and uh, maybe through the vigorous sucking of saps they will cause death of the young plants. So, but they are essential component of a healthy forest. The presence of cicada um, is an indicator of healthy forest, because there are some annual cicadas and periodic cicadas. The annual cicadas are the cicadas which have the life cycle of 1 year. That is, they will uh, die within 1 year, and the next generation will come after the year, and they after their death they provide the new carbon or other nutrients and minerals to the soil. So it's a very good or indicator of healthy forest. This photo actually shows the interaction between Asian openbill and plants, where Asian openbill uses the branches of tall trees to make their nests, and they generally make their nests at the top of the tall trees, and during the breeding season they can be seen nesting in large groups on these trees. So it's also a very important interaction which saves or which provides a good environment for the eggs to hatch into little ones. So during our study in Jamtara, we recorded some elephant food plants that are found in Latna Dam, and we did this because we saw that that area is a um, elephant corridor, and if we want to protect elephants and give them a place to stay for some days, and without causing any human elephant conflict, so we have to plant some trees that can be used as food by the elephants, so that they can stay in a calm and quiet environment. And these are some plants that were suggested by us, that is uh, good for elephants as food. So this is all from me today. Thank you.